today. And it's not just us. It's Matt, it's Kat, and it's Julie Dove. Hi, Julie.
Hi. I wish my name rhymed with you two, Matt, Cat, and Jat or something.
Jat. All right, well, we'll call you Jat for the next,
Okay.
if that's
Well, I'm
fine.
so happy to be here.
Matt, Cat, Jat in the chat. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
here.
Our chat
Uh,
is like a third, or
Call
a
me,
third
call me
host
J
group.
Chat. Call me J Chat.
J
That's
Cat.
my podcast name. J Chat. J
Okay.
Chat.
We'll call you
Oh.
whatever you want. I'll call you Cockadoodie Connie all day if you want me to as well. So you are so well known now for being crazy ass Connie on on Days of Our Lives. Now, it was awesome when Connie came back for this large story that you were a part of, because I remember, and others didn't, that Connie went on a date with Lee Shin weeks and
Some
weeks
people
and
didn't
weeks and
remember
weeks.
that, and I was like, "How are you a diehard fan if you don't remember that whole episode?"
Yeah, I remember it was the date that Lee
remember it.
had when it was all falling apart with Melinda, and he was like, I'm
Mhm.
still getting out there on the field.
And
you-
Melinda's date with Alex was at the same time, and it was so funny. And I didn't
Yes.
even meet Robert that day, but I did meet Tina because my line was with her. I had a little bit of intro with her, but yeah, that was just such a funny episode, I think.
Yeah, and I remember watching it and thinking, oh well, this is classic TV. This is Mrs. Doubtfire, right? This is them showing a connection that Lee isn't going to have to reinforce the one that he has with Melinda. And
Yeah.
here we are now, months and months later in airtime, and even more months further in your life.
Yeah.
And we last week, not last week, the week before, because we had to delay this. We got to the end. We got to the end of Connie's whole story. So with that, how do you feel now that you have participated and completed a arc on Days of Our Lives?
Well, I feel great to be, a part of Salem history and to, before I would occasionally see someone that would be like, "Are you at Days of Our Lives?" I feel like maybe I saw you. And I'd be like, "Yeah, I did an episode or two." But now I can be like, "Yeah, I was the sort of serial killer Connie." So
Yeah, almost
Sorta.
serial killer. If you were more effective,
yeah,
you know?
I was a budding serial killer. I mean, two complete deaths and four attempted, I think.
I mean, a
So
lot. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
So
it was like a prolonged Melinda attempt.
prolonged Melinda attempt.
Poor,
And
poor girl. She's never going to be the same, that Melinda.
I have to say though, it's so funny. I feel like I know now just from being friends with some of the cast members, I'm not the only one that watches the show, but I think the only one that like watches it from a fan perspective and has been watching it
Mhm.
and like knew exactly where things were at when I got there. And so things are so far ahead, which is kind of exciting to get the scripts, but then I'm trying to piece together what happened between what I'm watching and now.
Mhm.
I was so like weirdly angry. I kept going, why has Melinda not been punished for kidnapping Jude? Like, and everyone was like, "Oh no, we dealt with that." I was like, "No, you haven't." Like,
No,
This
you
is
haven't.
Connie. She'll tell you.
because I had to give this speech of like, "I know you're an upstanding person," and I'm like, "She's not. She helped kidnap a baby, and it's still not public knowledge on the show." Do you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
she made a deal with EJ. So I'm like, okay, I feel sorry for Melinda, but she is kind of a bad girl too. I'm sorry. She didn't try to kill anybody, but she did kidnap the baby. And I feel like that's a dropped point on the writer's report. Like, if
Maybe it'll
anyone's
come up.
watching from the staff, let's bring that up
Hey,
again.
for all we know, they're going to talk
So
about it next
Melinda
week.
and EJ both need to be punished. They both knew.
Yes. Like, when is that going to come out? That dropped.
Well, maybe Connie's going to be the reason why all of that comes out. Like, listen, all right, you don't understand the perspective I
about
have.
it, and Tina was like, "No, it was dealt with." I was like, "I don't think so."
It was dealt with as in
You made a deal with EJ. That's not dealing with it.
it was dealt with as in we put a blanket over it for now, and then we'll reveal that later in a big grand flourish.
But back to your question, I had a great time,
Good.
and I mean, because of the fact that there's not any kind of discussion with, I mean, I don't know if it's this way with contract players, but guest actors, no one said this is where it's going.
Right.
So up until like the a week before I shot that last episode, I had no idea if I was going to live or die.
Hmm.
So I was very relieved to be going to Bayview.
So going to Bayview, and on top of that too, in a very interesting way. So we had also, as
Very
audience, as
interesting way.
viewers, we had no expectation as to how this was going to end, especially since it's Days of Our Lives. If this was another soap opera, I think we would have gone forward with Connie's dying at the
Yeah,
end of this.
I thought for sure that Jada was going to shoot me in the back. Like
Right.
I
Well,
really thought that
she's
was going to
also an
happen.
upstanding cop, so I don't know if in the back is going to be what she
He's the
does.
most effective cop Salem's had in like 20 years.
Right.
Closes every case, gets every person. It's like they could all be in the hospital for something. Jada can run that place better than anyone.
But the decision that
Jada
they,
is the Marlena of the police department.
He is the Marlene of the police department,
It's the
and
one that-
Elaine is awesome.
the one that makes it work.
one that
But
makes it work.
ultimately, though, the end of Connie was a complete break from reality. And then she gets taken off to Bayview, which isn't the conclusion that I expected, but the conclusion that one, I am totally here for, and two, I honestly think makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she
Mhm.
truly was insane. And I have said this in all of my interviews. I do not think she was always this crazy. I think she was very eccentric and odd and didn't really fit in. And, probably was the kind of person that would embellish her resume, which people do all the time. But I think that the rejection from Li Shen was like the beginning of her break from reality. It was like, I can't take this life anymore. And
Mhm.
then, the snap to killing him. And then it just went out of control from there.
When would you say she bought
into
the
madness.
cardboard cutout?
When would I say she did what?
When she bought the cardboard cutout, when would you say she had that made?
I mean, probably after the date. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, and look, I'm gonna say you got pictures of guys on your wall there. So how different is that from a cardboard cutout? So, I'm gonna say the cardboard cutout is not as extreme in the beginning as one would think it would be. I mean, I see online you can buy like cardboard cutouts. They have cardboard cutouts of the characters from Yellowstone, and I almost bought one of the guy that plays who is it? Beth?
Sometimes you just wind up with stuff you didn't think you were gonna have, and then before you know it, you've got a 6 foot tall poster of TJ from General Hospital.
So before we're like calling someone crazy for having a cutout, let's say. I can't believe I can't think of the character's name that's with Beth on Yellowstone.
Yeah, her husband.
Well, yeah, he's her husband now. Anyway, the gorgeous guy that's like the main guy from Yellowstone that's not Kevin.
Yes.
Kevin
Not,
Kevin Costner.
whatever. They sell cardboard cutouts of those characters online, and I almost bought one because we have to tape our auditions at home, and sometimes you need a third eye line. I was like, I'm gonna get one of those cutouts, and I'll make it the third person you talk to in the audition because you usually talk to the reader, and then you need another person. I ended up not getting it. I can't believe I can't think of his name because I love him. But anyway, yeah. So I don't think the cardboard cutout is that bad. Now, talking to the cardboard cutout and taking the cardboard cutout to bed, that's crazy town. Okay,
It's a little too far.
when you talking to a cutout's not the problem. It's when it answers you, that's when it's an issue.
I think the cardboard cutout was probably in existence before the murder as like, oh, I really like him. We're going to go on some more dates again. I'm just going to.
I love it.
You know,
I absolutely
maybe
love it.
I think it was probably part of Connie's manifesting a relationship with him. Who knows?
Oh yeah. It's just it had us rolling with laughter the entire time, and that's one of our favorite things about Days of Our Lives itself is how flipping enjoyable this show can be.
Of Days of Our Lives. And some people seem to rage about some stuff online, but it's in the history of the show from the very beginning, So especially in the 80s during the heyday of it. I mean, Calliope is like one of the greatest characters on the show ever. And I'm sad that I can't, people used to ask me if she was one of my inspirations. Of course she's one of my inspirations, or Arlene as an actress and the character. But now that Connie's so insane, I can't really have Calliope as an inspiration.
It was at the start. Start when I was just a little weird.
When she was just a little fun, weird busybody, of course. But now she's more in the territory of Jan Spears and she's more recently Whitley.
Crazy Nurse Whitley. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that was the first crazy person that we covered when we started Days for Dummies last year. Was
Huh?
the wrapping up of Crazy Nurse Whitley and her kidnapping of Abe.
I love that storyline.
The beginning of Body and Soul.
I like the body and soul storyline. People hate it. I don't care. I love it.
No, I think that people who watch soaps and enjoy soaps for being soaps really like what's going on with Body and Soul.
Not making fun of the audience.
No,
at
no,
all.
no. People watch for different
I think
things.
it
They
is,
want
though,
to
but
get different
it's
things out of
not
soap
making fun of the
operas.
audience. It's embracing the fun idiosyncrasies of being a soap opera fan.
Mhm.
And I love the wink nods it has to
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah, totally,
Mhm.
totally, and it's super fun, and it also gives the actors an opportunity to do something a little different than
Yeah,
what
it's
they've
a
been
great.
doing.
Even though it's a little out of character for Abe, it's perfectly a character for Kate, and it gives those two veterans something great to do.
Yeah,
So we
oh
get
yeah,
more of Judy. Anytime we can have a storyline with more of Judy Evans, it's a great storyline.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Judy Evans, that's Bonnie, right?
Yes, she plays
Yes,
Bonnie.
yes. See, there's so many Evanses when it comes to Days of Our Lives, when it comes to actors and characters, that sometimes
Yes.
I'm a little confused as to who's what.
Get it.
So I have to ask you. I really thought of Kathy Bates in the movie Misery
Oh.
with Connie. Did you?
Absolutely, a total inspiration for the character, and watch that movie again for the first time, and like probably since it came out,
Mhm.
to kind of draw a lot of that with the Lee relationship and with the tying Melinda up and such.
Yes.
Yeah, that was when we really started thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we thought we actually said on the podcast we got to keep a sledgehammer out of Connie's hands.
Yes, yes. And you know,
Then she shows up with a hacksaw, you know.
and totally with adornment, we call you Cockadoodie Connie.
Connie. Now somebody else calls me Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Connie. I answer to all of it.
Yeah.
So
The Cockadoodie is, you know, straight from Misery.
Straight from Misery. Yeah.
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 Oh my gosh. Mysterio. Hello, Mysterio, in the live chat with us today, has an interesting question. Did Julie temper her accent for Days? She sounds more Southern right now than she did as Connie.
Well, thank you for noticing, because I definitely work so hard to temper my accent when I'm doing characters, because I mean, I haven't lived in Texas since I haven't lived in the South since I was 29, and I haven't lived in Texas since I was 26. So yeah, I've been in LA almost 24 years now, and just definitely try to temper my accent. But I don't know, when I get into like a fun conversation with people, it really comes out. And if anyone listens to my podcast, it's a serious true crime podcast I have out. I'm interviewing people from my hometown, and I sound like so Southern, because it's just like it
It
really
just comes out, right?
comes out when I'm just talking to people with that. So yeah, definitely always trying to temper my
True crime, though, huh?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
all right. So you're playing
weirdly have that
playing
comment
up
with
crime in Salem, talking about crime in real life.
that's very
You just
strange.
can't separate yourself from it.
So did you watch the Menendez
Ooh,
Netflix?
that
I
big
have
popular
I
thing.
have
Did you
not
watch
yet.
Monsters?
I have not yet, because I watched the Dahmer one, and it's, it's super dark. You've got to really be in a place to.
Mm-hmm.
There's no humor in that. It's like real deal darkness. So I have not watched that, the new one yet. I did watch. A lot of people may not remember, but I'm a huge Law and Order fan. Have definitely watched every episode of the franchise more than once.
Okay,
Wow.
I love that about Peacock.
that's next for you, Law and
Yeah,
Order.
yeah. That is something I've definitely tried to manifest. The Mendez brothers had Law and Order tried to have a new series about, I guess, 5 years ago, called Law and Order. I think it might have even been called like Law and Order True Crime,
Mhm.
and it was the Mendez brothers was the story that they did, and Edie Falco played the prosecutor.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Josh Charles. I think it's on Peacock. It's like 6 episodes. It's
Okay.
really, really good. So I've seen a lot of Mendez brother
Stuff.
shows.
Mhm.
So I know exactly what I'm getting into when I go into that. So
Yeah.
a part of me was not going to watch it, but then a couple of my friends told me some pretty specific details, and they're like, I really think that you would I really appreciate the filmmaking of it and the acting. So I'm definitely going to watch it, but I haven't yet.
I'm with you there. The filmmaking and the acting, I think, has a lot to say. Content, take it or leave it. It's Ryan Murphy. You know.
Yeah, In one of my thousands of day jobs I've had as an actor, I worked as a runner, a special effects runner on American Horror Story Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Or AFX Studio is award-winning special effects prosthetic. Dave Anderson and his wife Heather Anderson from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Oh, awesome.
This. So they do the prosthetics for American Horror Story Hotel. So I would have to run the pieces to the Fox lot of
Okay.
bloody whatever and stuff.
Yeah.
I got a little of like behind the scenes life of Ryan Murphy there, and it's even more intense than you can imagine.
Oh,
so,
wow. Okay.
Wow.
So it's I don't know why I brought that up, but it's just kind of interesting.
It's a connection. It's
It
all
is
good.
very
It's a conversation. Loosey goosey is what we do here in Days for Dummies. Don't worry about it.
Everything Ryan Murphy is intense, behind the scenes, on camera.
On camera, all of that. When you do finally sit down to watch the Menendez show on Netflix, I recommend that you do it with a family member, maybe a mom. I did it with my mom, and and it was an experience being able to watching that show of parent killers.
but you know, but I'm in North, but not. Yes, we watched it together, but not together. I'm in Northern California. He's in Southern California.
But we did a podcast on it. Is the whole point anyway? Yeah. So it's not true crime. It's fake crime. Because that was not real. But there's a connection there. Loved Eugene and Calliope, says Sandra. I also loved Eugene and Calliope. I saw their clips. You mentioned that I had recently come across a trove of 8 clips from '85. And in it is Calliope and Eugene. Lightning in a flipping bottle. There is nothing like those
Every
two.
time she came on screen for like a new day, I'd be like, oh my God, what's she going to be wearing today? What's she going to be wearing today?
She had an airplane in her hat. It was very interesting. So good job on the chat there. Kelly says, well, you moved when you were 26, so you must be 32 now.
I'm going to be 55 in January 6th.
Oh, all right. Congratulations on making it this far.
I'll qualify for the senior discount. I'm super excited. I'm ready for the Denny's 55 menu.
Just getting ready. I would like the senior slam, please.
And I hope someone's going to say it's only for seniors. And I'll be like, oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I
I
just
do
died
feel like
this
I
morning.
look a little younger than I am, but
Well, it worked.
I'm
I mean, you want to be mysterious with
I'm a
age.
little, Connie's a little old for Lee Shen, I think, but you know, she
I
was
don't know. I think it was
she was
perfectly
swinging for the
age-appropriate.
fences. Swinging for the fences, as our friend would say.
Every time. And I think that that's what you did very successfully. I was always looking forward to Connie showing up. I was very curious to see what was going to come next, who was going to be in her crosshairs. And finally, we talked to Sherry about this a couple of weeks ago. You tie Gabby and Melinda to a chair and leave them in the Demira secret room, walking away hoping to blow them up.
In the mansion, hoping to blow up the Demira mansion.
The Demira mansion, and if it wasn't for the fact that EJ opened the door when he did, it would have been super successful. So maybe EJ's next for Connie. I don't know.
I love the whole story of Connie. And as she had victims, her mind was thinking of, oh, now this one's a problem. Now this one's a problem.
Wouldn't be long before everybody in Salem was a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Chanel and Johnny were going to be shortly on that list.
Oh,
that was such a strange out of the blue thing that I was like, oh, I get to shoot a scene with Carson and Raven, but I really loved it, and I was so glad.
Yes. They're just trying to sprinkle Connie in wherever they can, hoping that a loose end is there that needs to be tied up later on.
I have to say that, you know, knowing that you're such a soap fan and a soap viewer, and you were able to go on Days of Our Lives and play this arc, must have been so fun and so dream come true kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was so amazing, more than I can ever put into words, even though I've tried too many times. It was such a struggle of like, I'm at work, but I want to be like taking pictures and telling stories. And, you know, there was even this whole thing recently of like, I wanted to get all of my, you know how they release the pictures in the trades every week?
Yeah.
I wanted copies of my pictures, and so I had to go through like all these layers. You know, no one asked for that kind of stuff, and then I ended up buying them from the photographer and stuff, because I'm like, I just really wanted them, because I have these scrapbooks of soap stuff that I've had since I was a kid. I have like a ton of scrapbooks of things, and I have OCD for real. It's not a joke. And I, because people a lot of times say, "Oh, I'm
I'm
OCD."
OCD about this, that, and the other thing. Yeah.
Really OCD. So I have all these scrapbooks by year, and they're all like on a IKEA bookshelf in these like what do you call them? Why can't I talk? The little baskets you put them in that go
Uh-huh.
in the shelves. Yeah. So I've just had these soap opera scrapbooks for 40, 41 years.
Yeah.
And it's just so surreal to me that I have these pictures cut out from Soap Opera Digest and all these magazines of all these people. And now I have my pictures of me on set. We don't have
Yes.
That
like
is
those
so
magazines. I
cool.
could go buy them and cut myself out, but the magazines don't exist anymore. So I was like, I have to have these. So I spent a lot of time over the last few weeks trying to get those. And I was dealing with the publicist at Days, and she's so wonderful, Andrea. But I'm sure she was just like, this is so odd or weird. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I
Hi,
mean,
Andrea, by the way. We've been
yeah,
emailing a little bit. Hi.
it was so different. It was so different, I'm sure, than any of the other actors on the show. But I mean, I am just as much a professional actor as I am a professional fan of all
Yes.
kinds of television and movies. That's what I think makes me good at my job.
I think
That
I think
I love the art.
I think that a lot of viewers and also people who are involved in entertainment lose a little bit of sight on the fact that people do this because they started as a fan. You don't become an actor because you hate movies. You don't become an actor because you hate TV. It's because you liked movies and you liked TV. Same thing in like the pro wrestling side of thing. You don't become a pro wrestler because you hate pro wrestling. Every pro wrestler is a pro wrestling fan as well. And so it's very easy, I think, for people to forget about that and focus so much about the result of it and how and the edited end product and all of that, with forgetting how much love, how much passion, how much desire to do a great job actually exists behind the camera.
Yeah, and I mean, I do meet actors. I not as much anymore that we're not going to in-person auditions, but so many actors that don't watch TV at all that'll, I would run into people in the waiting room and they'd be like, "Have you ever seen this show?" And it'd be a show that'd been on for like 10 years. I'd be
Mhm.
like, "Watch it every week." And they'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I'm just like so surprised at people that are in this art form that don't love it as a fan.
Mhm.
I wish for them to become a fan still, like join all of us.
Join all of us. Have a great time with it,
You
you know?
have you
We're gonna make
always
oh,
have
I'm
you
sorry.
always been an actress?
I mean, I started pursuing it professionally when I was 31, but since I was 13 is when I wanted to be an actress.
Mhm.
And I grew up in a very, very small town. So we just had like one drama class and it was the same class every year that you would take. So I would took that all through high school. And then I went to college to be an actress. And
Mhm.
then I was scared to pursue it. So I became the high school drama teacher at my high school that I just graduated from
That's
3.
cool though.
And then I had 2 marriages in between, and then after my second marriage, failed in, 1999, my goal was the same as Ross Geller's, no divorces in 2000, and at that point, had been in Nashville for 5 years. I was working in the music industry, and that's when I was, kind of had the opportunity forced into an opportunity of, like, you have a relaunch here for your life if you want, and, 29 and 2 divorces is crazy. And I knew that I always wanted to be an actor and I was always scared to do it. And I was scared to move away from home because I was from such a small town. It was only 2,300 growing up.
Yeah.
Now it's
Oh,
third
wow.
fastest city in
Moving
the
is
United
scary.
States. Yeah. So I'd already moved away from home and I was ready to take the leap to go to LA is where I decided I wanted to go.
It's a
And
great
so
place to move to.
yeah, so, I the end of just like a few weeks before my 31st birthday, I moved to LA and got into classes immediately and kept my job as long as I could, then probably left my job too early after about 5 years
Yeah.
and was in the, like, struggling actor category for a long time, uh, and just trying to get jobs here and there, and after 10 years of being here is when I booked my first, television show, which was Happy Endings.
Oh, happy endings. I remember that one.
And I've been working ever since, so that's been, like, 13 or 14 years ago now, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay. So
Yeah.
sometimes it just takes that kind of initial breakthrough into something, and then that snowballs into the next project, and before you know it, you're in Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, and just always trying to get onto soap, like constantly taking classes with the soap opera casting directors. And
Mm-hmm.
I've shared before, I was you guys ABC family primarily. I know I was Mark Teschner's nanny, and I'm friends with him and his family still. His daughter is now 19 and a sophomore in college. And Mark Teschner's the casting director, multi Emmy winning casting director of General Hospital. And so I've had these connections to soaps for a while. And actually, I'm 99% sure my first background job on a soap was General Hospital. I've said before that it is, and I'm the kind of person that wants to verify facts, but
Yeah.
I really think it is. But I remember the first background work I did, and Mark set me up for that. And it was one of the times where Rick Springfield had come back. And I mean,
Oh,
I watched General Hospital during the Dr. Noah Drake,
yeah.
Anna and
Yeah.
Robert, and during the Ice Princess storyline, basically. So I didn't know like who the scene was with, because when you're a background, you know nothing.
You
So
just
I
show
was
up.
like,
Yeah.
I was in the nurses station, and they're like action. The elevator opened, and it was like Dr. Noah Drake, and I was just like, oh my god! I was like, because not only did I
Oh,
love Dr. Noah Drake, but right over here I can pull out the 45 of Jesse's Girl from my
Yeah.
vinyl
yeah.
collection. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, always wanting to be on a soap since being here. And I did some background on, I think I did some on The Young and the Restless. I auditioned for The Young and the Restless many times. Greg Salmon, the casting director there, auditioned for General Hospital a couple of times, and had never auditioned for Days of Our Lives until the audition for, it was called Woman, that
Yeah.
was Connie, and that was back because everything's so secret.
Yeah.
That was all the way
Uh-huh.
back November of 2021. That was the scene that you can watch on YouTube where I confront
So long
Chad and
ago.
Abby. Yeah, Chad and Abby in the square, but that's the same Connie. That's the same Connie. And then a year later they brought her in to be Sloane's client, and then a little bit after that, Lee's date. And
I
the
didn't even know. See, that's what.
Oh, yeah. We weren't watching yet then.
Yeah, so yeah, my first appearance was as Sloane's client in
Oh,
Small Bar. I kept shooting in Small Bar, and it's so funny. I didn't know it was called Small Bar. I thought, you know how a script says interior? I thought it was saying interior a small bar, but it was interior small bar. It was
uh-huh.
actually called Small Bar. And it is a very, very small bar, by the way. Like those three tables is it.
We were able to tour the sets of General Hospital and see how small things really are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
Yeah,
Small
I love
bar.
the General Hospital sets. It's pretty fun. I like the outside where you can see where the hospital thing is, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
also where they filmed Grey's Anatomy on the other side of the.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the tours are super fun. So with the tours, so how often did you break in after hours to just kind of walk across the sets? Now I'm in the Horton house. Now I'm in.
I mean, I was definitely like during lunch. Everyone had lunch at the same time. Working on soap is a little bit 9 to 5 in that
Yeah.
there's scheduled breaks and scheduled lunches. And I mean, every show has scheduled stuff, but you're on like regular primetime shows and stuff, like they're running late and
Yeah.
coming in at different times. But no matter what time you come in, lunch is at like I think it's 12:45 to 1:45 on days.
Mhm.
So I would like wander around, and I was really trying. You've probably already seen this, but I was trying to see some of the old sets to see if they still existed. Bo's apartment that was below Shenanigans, I think, where they
Okay.
would walk down the stairs, and then it was the loft, which so many different people lived in the loft.
Uh-huh.
Bo and Hope lived there. Kayla lived there. Um, I think Belle and Sean even lived there.
Oh.
Anyway, I was trying to find those sets to see if they still existed, and then I asked Janet about it like later. And Janet Spellman Drucker, the co-EP, who's
Mhm.
been on the show since around '85.
God, I love how soaps
Yeah,
just have such
I was
longevity.
I was trying to ask her some questions about it, and, like, trivia questions. She didn't know the answers. I'm sure she probably also I'm
I've been
making all
doing the
these.
show for 40 years. What do you think I
Yeah,
remember?
they were very specific questions, and she probably thought I was being goofy and ridiculous, but I think she loves me even as I am, so.
I think that the show loved you. I think it was pretty obvious that they gave you as Connie, the Connie character, just so much range, so much to do. You interacted with so many different actors and other
Mhm.
characters that I really think that Days of Our Lives saw quality and really wanted to make the most out of it, out of the time that they had with you.
and we saw Connie's descent into madness.
Thank you. I mean, that was my goal
You
as
did.
to really build it as a slow build and to, come to the peak at the
Yeah,
end. So
yeah. I mean, we crazier and crazier as time went on. Melinda, like your interactions with Melinda, the Connie's interactions with Melinda, gotta try to separate Julie from Connie as much as I possibly can.
yes, I'm not the same. Even though one angry person or two angry people on Twitter said my most favorite, and I didn't read very much of the comments, but occasionally people would tag me, and so it would pop up in my like notifications on my phone. And by the time I tried to like not look at it, I'd read the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Talking about how much they hated it, and they said, and the sad part is we think she's drawing from her real life. I'm like, what the F do you mean? You think I'm a killer?
People will
No,
make
really.
up anything on Twitter. They will make up anything.
So yeah, but the point of that was there's a complete separation, everyone.
Yes.
I've never stalked anyone. I've never like made a cardboard cutout of anyone. I've never.
Connie is an actress, y'all.
I'm acting, and if you thought I was crazy, I'm a great actress.
You did a great job. No, I think that the show really invested. I think that the fact that Connie did not meet her maker at the end of it is another sign of investment, because as we all know and love about Days of Our Lives, the revolving door of characters on that show is a blessing to them, because it does allow them to give somebody a break, refresh it a little bit, and then come on back with something new. And with Connie's departure, she is in a completely new world in her own head, which just opens up the doors for possibility down the line when they figure out what they want to do next.
Well, sure. And you know what, you guys remember, where was Ava when they found her for this go around?
In the jail cell.
She was in Bayview. That's where Ava was.
Exactly. Ava was in Bayview. I said something that was quoted in a magazine last week. I said it in an interview months ago, though, that only contract players get away with murder, and also only contract players get out of Bayview. But no, people get out for an arc. But I would love for Lee, like a lot of fans have said, I would love for Lee Shin to still be alive or to be brought back to life by Dr. Rolfe. And so then maybe that's part of why Connie gets out, is because that's not that was an attempted murder, not a murder.
Not a murder.
And then, there'll be some type of loophole about the Bobby thing. I would love for Connie to, well, first of all, I've said I'd love for Connie to get help from Dr. Marlena Evans.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love for Connie to either Gabby or Lee to connect with Connie in Bayview and want to use her to help hurt someone else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It would be great because Gabby has always been a bit of a schemer.
Yes.
I haven't watched Gabby from the beginning, but I've watched the last 3.5, almost 4 years now, and I've seen her do some like dirty things. And I know
stepping together. Boy,
they bring out the worst in each other, don't they?
So I would love for Gabby to be like, look, I need to take this person down, and Connie, you're the person to help me to do it. Or even like Lee, I want to still take Gabby down. Let's do it. And I'm like, yes, let's get on board.
Yes, Lee, anything for you.
It'd be fun.
My theory, my hope was that Ghost Lee was actually just real Lee, and Connie didn't realize it. Like Lee had just snuck into the house, and he's just like, hey, Connie. It's not a fully fleshed out idea, but I thought it would have been fun.
On, girl?
What if he showed up at Bayview and we didn't know for several episodes that he was actually alive?
Exactly. Like I want that. I want
send this episode to my friend that's on the writing staff.
Go ahead and have them call me directly and offer me a job as well, because I want that. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Mysterio says, in order for JDU, Julie Dove, to go back today, she'd have to come back as a lookalike cousin. That would be awesome.
I would love that. People are like saying the names that rhyme, and I like she could be Bonnie. I'm like, no, we already have a Bonnie, but I had a crazy aunt named Bonnie, so I'd love like Bonnie. I'm Bonnie. Connie,
Bonnie. Oh yes.
And I'd love Bonnie to be friends with Bonnie.
Yeah, and
Bonnie
Vininski.
Bonnie
Vininski. That's a mouthful. Bonnie Vininski.
Bonnie Vininski.
Bonnie Kaninsky. There you go.
Bonnie Vininski.
A new nickname for Connie. Connie, the killer knife cougar. I'm going to change that. Kelly.
Killer knife.
Connie, the cougar with the killer knife.
I love it.
There
Love
you
it.
go. There you go. Happy
Crazy.
early birthday, says Kelly as well. So happy early
It's a
birthday.
few months away, but
It's
thank you.
several months away, but
I celebrate, 3 months, I guess. It's January 6th.
well, it's just
so
the beginning of your birthday trimester.
quarter, right? Quarter, my birthday quarter.
Yeah, it's your birthday quarter. We're gonna start celebrating
Well,
now.
one of my granddaughter's birthday is January 8th, and if you ask her, it's right around the corner. She's almost 9
I'm
any
almost
day now.
Uh, who was the first person that you ran into on set? You get the job, you go in there, you walk in, they say, hey, here's your corner, get dressed. You walk onto the sound stage, and who's the first person to say hello?
Well, the very first person all the way back to 2021 was Marcy Miller and Billy. Why am I forgetting
Billy
Billy's
Flynn?
last- Flynn, sorry.
Hey,
And then the director, Sonia, God, I always say Sonia's
is Marcy
last name.
Miller Sloan?
No, Marcy Miller was Abby. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
this is before Abby was murdered.
Right.
So those were the first, so all the way back
That
in
was before we started watching.
Yes,
When
yes,
I
yes.
watched-
So there's a
yeah.
little gap there. A little gap
They
there.
were so nice and wanted to rehearse with me and everything. And a good portion of my monologue was going to be cut because it's a fun scene to watch. It's on YouTube on the official Days of Our Lives channel. They
Okay.
the show put it up there so I could see it. And it's a little segment that says on the cutting room floor, and they only have a few of them on there. But part of my scene was going to get cut, and Billy went to the producers and was like, "It doesn't make sense without her saying all this." And I was like, "Awesome, thank you."
Thank you,
So
Billy. Thank you.
Yeah.
You understand, Chad.
yeah, they were all like really, really nice. But I have to say, things move super, super fast
Oh,
on
yeah.
the show. So when you're coming in to do something that's just like one scene or whatever, you barely even get to say hi to anybody. I
Mhm.
mean, like so compressed. And that was all during like pretty strict COVID protocols.
Mm.
Oh,
even-
yeah.
Couldn't leave your dressing room. You had to do your own hair and makeup, and then you would go to hair and makeup and they would touch it up. So I didn't really get to start interacting with people until when I came to do the date scene,
Mhm.
because the scene with Sloane and who else was in, there was another, I guess it was just me and Sloane, Jessica Sarfati, who was
Mhm.
great. And I hope she comes back, or that character comes back. Sloane is such a great bad guy in Salem. and
Ooh, she flamed out big time. I actually do want to see her come back and cause more trouble.
Yeah, we need good troublemakers.
Just
We need
one.
good female troublemakers in Salem. So I worked with her that day, and that was really quick. But then when I came back to shoot the scene with Remington, we were the first scenes up for the day, so everything was so fast, like too fast for me that I even
Mhm.
had to say to the stage manager, like, "You're gonna have to give me a minute." Because they had like two makeup rooms, like which they still do, just in case someone gets sick in one, that like not one whole team gets wiped out.
Sure.
But it used to be really far across the other side of the soundstage.
Yeah.
So Remington and I didn't even get to rehearse beyond the rehearsal. So he was really the only person. Like I said, Robert Scott Wilson was in the scene, and I didn't even get to introduce myself to him.
Right.
Wow.
So but when I came back for like this big arc, I was just like, walking around in between scenes,
Yeah.
wanting to talk to people, and like, I was, I didn't want to interrupt people. Everyone's constantly walking around learning their lines, but I
Yeah.
did. I started working right before the Christmas holidays, so I would say the first people like that, or people I was fans of growing up, that I talked to, had a little conversation with, was Steve and Kayla, Stephen Nichols and Mary Beth Evans. And I went up to them and said, "Hey, I've been here 2 weeks, and I haven't really said much, but I grew up watching the show, and I'm a huge fan." And then I told them each a story. I had written Mary Beth a fan letter, and she wrote me back, and I still have
Aw.
that.
Oh,
And then I went to meet Stephen Nichols when he came to the Dallas Auto Show, when the soap stars were always out doing personal appearances. They were getting booked left and right. And I met him, and my sister and I stood in this long line, and I told him, I was like, we weren't supposed to take pictures because it was one of those kind of like Day of Days, or I don't know how the General Hospital fan event is, but some of the events, like, you just get to lean across the table and say hi. So if you're
Mhm.
taking a picture, So we weren't supposed to take pictures. You're just supposed to get an autograph, which I have his autograph. But
Nice.
I leaned across and my sister took a picture and we got in trouble. So I told him that story. He was like, "Oh my gosh, you should have said hi earlier. It's so good to see you here. This is really cool." So that was nice.
Man,
And then
that's so cool.
Tom Christopher was so nice. He came up and said hello to me. And when he was talking to me, Deidre Hall came up to talk to him, and she introduced herself to me. She was like, "Oh, hi! I've seen your work, and you're doing a great job. I'm Deidre." And I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my God, you must have melted into a puddle.
I did. As soon as I got done that day, I got in the car and I called my sister, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're not gonna believe this."
Deidre Hall just not only introduced me, pretending like I shouldn't know who she is, but also gave me a compliment.
We all have monitors on in our room, so you're
That is so
watching
cool.
when you come up. So I mean, I would say that was the coolest. And I talked a lot to James Reynolds and Lauren Koslow in the hall. I don't know how we got into a deep conversation one day, but she is not the Kate that I watched when I
Mhm.
watched in the 2000s. There was another Kate, but I'm very familiar with her
Yeah.
as an actor. So, but Abe has been on the James has been on the show as Abe from the beginning. So I was asking himself about what it was like to film in the past, and and like because I'm like this seems like it's really different than I've heard stories, and they were
Mhm.
telling me how different it was and how slow it was. It's slower speed,
Yeah.
not slow like in a bad way, but like there was a pacing, like you would
Mhm.
almost like they were. Every day they would come in, they would have rehearsal, then they would have dry blocking, then they would have lunch, then they would come back and
It was
film
a
it.
little more time to settle into the material.
Exactly. And there was like multiple takes and things like that. And so we were talking about that, and then we were joking about how there's no craft services. I don't know if you guys know craft services. There's the free
The
food
food, yeah.
Right.
all day. There's no craft services on any soap, but on Days of Our Lives, it's just like coffee, tea, and water. So we were kind of joking about that. I was like, "Did they used to have craft services?" And they're kind of laughing.
Yeah.
There used to be a cafeteria in that actual stage studio before COVID, and then it shut down. But now there is a cafeteria like in the building right behind there. You can walk
Okay.
over.
All right. So
Oh, well, that's
waking up
better
a little
than
bit over
nothing,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah, so it was fun just having conversations with people that
Yeah.
I watched for years. And then I've made friends with so many of the new cast members.
Mhm.
Elia and I are friends, and Sherry and I are friends.
Yeah.
That was great.
That's
And
awesome. Oh my
just
gosh. I'm so
Matthew and
envious.
Matthew and I got to go to Day of Days last year, and we got to do press for it with another, not representing ourselves, but with another group. We were able to do it. So hopefully we get to go again this year. Yeah, we were able to meet quite a few cast members, which was so fun. And
Oh.
we went and saw the day players that night after Day of Days, which
okay.
was so fun.
Yeah,
See
I went to
Dr. Rolf in the audience.
Just hanging out.
funny that you said that because I've gone to Days as a fan the last 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Even though I've lived in LA all this time, when it was at Universal Studios, I could never go. I was, like I said, always working some type of day job. And so I was able to go the last 2 years as a fan, and I really wanted to go this year as a cast member, but since my arc is over, I think that's why Connie is not a
Mhm.
part of Day of Days. And I'm torn about if I should go as a fan. I'm probably not, but I'm going to the day players, and Richard, who plays Dr. Rolf, he's going too. So if you guys want to meet Dr.
Yeah.
Rolf and Connie, we're going to be at the day players that night.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're planning on doing day players too, so we'll see you
Awesome.
there.
So we'll see
Yeah,
you
we're
there.
planning on going. Matthew and I were
Yeah.
talking about it before we started our day podcasting today.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
look
We're
at
gonna
that.
go.
Anybody that sees me out and about during anything Day of Days, come up, say hi. We'll
Just
take a
say
picture,
hello.
whatever you
Say
want.
hello. You
Oh,
were not
that's
going to
awesome.
bother Julie Dove by saying
You're
hello.
not going to bother me. And then I'm also doing a thing the night before called Yesterdays with a Twist that is sponsored by Starstruck Entertainment. And Remington and I are going to be at that event too with several of our past Days of Our Lives cast members.
Yesterdays with a twist?
Yes, Yesterdays with a Twist. And it's Starstruck Entertainment. I think that the website is maybe Starstruck Entertainment and the number 2.com. But if you go to my Instagram or Twitter, I will post something about it this week.
Okay, follow Julie Dove on Instagram.
Now that's a
everybody.
paid event, but it's a really great event. You have dinner, drinks, cocktails with myself and about 10 or 12 other Days of Our Lives cast members.
That's still really neat, though.
Yeah, it's
Very
really
cool.
fun.
That's super cool. That's super cool. So
Yeah.
check that out, folks, if you need something to do in November.
Yes, please come join me.
Check all of that
It's at
out.
the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles.
It's the day before.
It's the night before.
It's Halloween. No.
No.
It's the first.
It's November
First.
November 1st.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
first.
November 1st, 2nd. Yeah, okay, cool. Hey, who knows? We'll check that out too, and we'll share information with the audience
You
as
guys
that
should
goes
tell me you
forward.
guys need to come.
Yeah, we'll see what we can arrange because Ma's planning on doing a whole weekend. We're trying to make a Days of Our Lives weekend out of it, so we'll see what we can shake out. It was exciting that you're going to be at the Day Players.
I only get to reach out and touch this kid about twice a year, even though I talk to him every Sunday morning for hours.
So nice.
Hey, don't make it creepy. You're not Drew on General Hospital.
Stay away from me, Drew Kane. Stay away from me. Michelle says that 55 feels just like 54. 56 feels like 55, so we don't have to worry about nothing on age.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Okay, so beyond Marlena Evans, what is it? They call you back. If they call you back and they say, Connie, Julia's Connie. We want you back on the set, but we don't know what to do. What would you like to do? What would you like to do? We know that you want to talk to Marlena, but beyond that,
Well, I really want to do some scheming with some people.
just the scheming.
I
You
want
don't want
someone to,
romance. You don't want love. You don't want a love scene. You want a scheme.
I mean, I don't know. Like, gosh, I can't. I was just like, I have such self-deprecating. I can't even imagine that. But, yeah. I
He
mean,
wants to be the sensei of scheming.
my
scheme the Demiras.
my little kiss with Remington was my first on-screen kiss ever.
Oh, that's so cute though. I'd kiss Remington.
He
Anytime
was so
he
sweet.
asked.
No, when we were rehearsing the camera blocking before we shoot, I said, so this is my first on-screen kiss. And he was like, oh, it is. And I was like, yeah, it is. I said, so do you have any tips for me? He goes, I do have a very important tip. We have to decide who's going left and who's going right. And I was like, oh, okay.
You don't want to bump noses.
Yeah, he was like, I'll go left if you want to go right. I was like, great. So he gave me a very important tip that I'll carry on to my next love scenes.
In which you know, to honor him, you just always go right. Just be like, listen, this is how I've always done it. I just always go right. And then you could pretend like you're just kissing Remington every time. Kelly suggests that Dr. Rolf and Connie together on some sort of caper would be
that would be fun. I would love to help Dr. Rolf out. Richard,
Oh, that's crazy meets crazy. I love it.
yeah, we've become friends recently. There's this great guy on the crew named Steve Dempsey. He is, I think I don't know his exact title. I think he's in charge of like props and the art department.
Oh, such a valuable and important position.
Oh my gosh, he makes he probably even has a more important title than that. But I call him the unofficial Days of Our Lives social manager. If you make friends with him, he gets your number, and then like he has a band that plays out, and then he's also involved in this short film called Insane that several of the cast members are in. And so he will text you and say, oh, we've got a screening, we've got this. So Richard is friends with him and I'm friends with him. So we've been at all these mutual events over the last year. So now I'm friends with Dr. Rolf.
Write down that name, Ma. We got to get this guy's phone number.
Yeah, exactly. I told him, I go, you're like the social coordinator for Days of Our Lives, the unofficial social coordinator for cast members of Days of Our Lives.
I love it.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy that your entire experience in Days of Our Lives was an absolute dream come true. And I am beyond thrilled to hear that you have maintained relationships because you haven't been on the soundstage in a very long time at this point, right?
Yeah, my last day was February 14th. And actually that was, I guess, Drake's first day back in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I've read these articles that I guess his last day was February 16th. So he must have just come back and filmed a tiny bit and then left. So I was going when he was coming and I didn't even get to say hi to him. And I wanted to stand in line and meet him the last 2 years at Day of Days, but the line was so long and cut off.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I just want to say a shout out to everyone. We're all missing Drake and he's such a wonderful part. And I just feel like that. I love how many places I keep saying the swing for the fences quote.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, and he seemed like such a nice guy. But yeah, that's the last day I was there was February 14th. So it's been a very long time.
Yeah, like we only had one time to interact because he was so busy that we didn't catch him at Day of Days because his line was so long and Drake being the giver that he is didn't want to leave to come do the press before he was done interacting with all of the fans, which gave him only about 8 minutes to do press stuff. So he only was able to talk to a couple of outlets and he and Deidre had to move on because the day was over. So we didn't get a chance there, but we did get a chance a couple of months later at the Daytime Emmys, the catch-up Daytime Emmys that they did for the year they couldn't because of the strike. It was December of 23, I think.
December 15th.
December 15th of 2023. So he, Suzanne, and Abe, you know his real name, James.
Yeah,
The three of them were walking down the red carpet together and stopped at all the press, and so we had a chance to interact and talk with them. Then a very just brief thing. I have done my best to track down if he had done any interviews after he talked to us, and I haven't been able to find any, so I'm terrified that I was the last press to talk to Drake Hogeston.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
He might have been.
but he had such wonderful things to say about his time experience on the show and the friendships that he had created by being on Days of Our Lives.
And being able to talk to the three of them together, the three legends from Days of Our Lives, it was so fun to talk to three of them together.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
super neat.
so nice. And I'm just so thankful for all the fans that are posting pictures, the memories from the show, but also people have all these pictures from fan club events and things from when they met Drake. And I really love seeing all that as a fellow fan. So I thank you for everyone doing that. And I did also I introduced myself to Suzanne, and I just have been trying to catch her in the hall for a few days. This was during my the first weeks in December of 2023. And I just said, "Oh, I just want to say hi very quickly." She's like, "Oh, hi, I'm Suzanne." And then the next day, she came and sought me out, and she was like, "I wanted to say hi to you. I know you came up and introduced yourself last night, and it was fairly quick, so I want to make sure and say a proper hello." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I just wanted to tell you that I love you." And at the time, she was filming all of the scenes with the Sarah's paralysis and all of that. They're very dramatic scenes going on. I was like, "Oh my gosh, your work right now is like amazing," and it was just so great. She was just another great person that I've met and talked to. And then Judy was someone that was really good to me, and just kind of like,
I love that. I love that because people, well, at least me, I'll just talk from my perspective. I don't want to talk as if I'm speaking for anybody else, but from my own perspective, there is a certain amount of just love that you have for a character or an actor that you've seen on TV that distances them from you in reality, where you feel like they're just beyond an arm's reach. I could never talk to Deidre Hall. What would we have to talk about? I could never talk to Lauren Koslow. What the heck would we have to talk about? All that stuff. Imposter syndrome, all that kind of stuff just settles in. And then when you have an experience where they're like, "Oh, by the way, I know you tried to talk to me yesterday. I was just super busy, but I wanted to catch up and give you a proper hello," is just the most amazing story for me to hear. The fact that people who have been working on the show for their entire lives are still so happy to meet a new face and be friendly and be a part of the machine of love that is creating a soap opera.
And I took this amazing picture with Judy and Wally backstage, and I told them how much I love Justin and Adrian, and I was like, that's when I was really watching the show. And somebody else took it for me. I don't know who it is, but I've never gotten that picture. I have tried to like backtrack who would have it. And again, it's one of those things where like it's work and they're busy, but I'm just like, as a fan, I'm like, if anyone knows how to get my picture with Judy and Wally, I would like it.
Eric Marstolf, I know you're listening. I know you took the picture. Eric, stop hoarding it.
You're gonna be at the Day Players. You don't have a choice.
Better hand it over. Oh my gosh, it's been an hour. Oh my gosh.
I could talk forever.
I know, we could too, but I gotta pee. So I think this is a perfect time to go ahead and just pause it, end it here. We'll be done for it. We can all move on with our day, spend some time with our families, and go swing for the fences.
Yes.
I'm so excited to hear that you're going to be in attendance for Day Players.
Yes, I hope a lot of people are going to be there. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. We'll have to make sure that I send you a little message a doodle when we get our tickets too, so we can make sure we coordinate at the very least a hello in person while we're all in the same room together.
All be in the same room together. The Bourbon Room is a great venue.
It really is. So we went last year and saw the Day Players there at the Bourbon Room.
I saw them 2 years ago when they were at, I think it was called the Peppermint Club, and it was really tiny and it was freezing in there. I just remember the waitress was wearing like a parka. And I said, "Is it always this cold?" She's like, "It is."
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since you're on Days. So what have you been doing lately? What do you want to tell us about?
Oh, thank you for asking. Well, I have a little quick role on the new CBS show, George and Mandy's First Marriage. That's going to be on CBS. Starts.
Is that
I think it starts next week.
Sorry,
It's
that's
a
the spinoff of Young Sheldon, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I've seen the first and the third episode. I'm in the third episode, and I've seen the first one because I played it at our live taping, and oh my gosh, it's a great show.
Do you get to do your Texan accent during it then?
I did do my Texas accent during it. Really. I mean, it's a very quick part, but I got it out as much as I could.
Heck yeah. Yeah,
It
get
was
those home
very
runs.
exciting, very exciting. And then I have my podcast that I invite anyone to listen to. It's called True Texas Crime: The Significant Life of Angela Stevens. I always say, I know that's a long name, but if you just put my name into any podcast app, it'll come up.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it is a very serious podcast about a murder in my tiny hometown in 1988, the murder of Angela,
Hmm.
who was a schoolmate of mine. And she was murdered by 3 boys from our school, one that I also knew well.
Okay.
And so
Wow.
it's that story. It's her family having a voice for the first time. It's a little different take on true crime in that there's no mystery of who did it. It's more of a mystery of why,
Hmm.
and why there was a lot of victim shaming. And so
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
entire podcast is now complete.
Okay.
It's 8 episodes, and I've gotten really good feedback from it. And there's been several Days of Our Lives fans reach out and say they've listened to it. So I appreciate that, and I invite anyone else to listen to it as well.
Well, folks, do that. Just stick Julie Does name in your favorite podcasting app, and it'll come right up. Give that a listen. Give that a listen. That's awesome that you've done that for somebody that you knew and mattered to you.
Thank you. Thank
When
you so much.
before. So we'll definitely be tuning in to that. Thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Anytime.
Janice in the chat, we're gonna finish with this because it's very complimentary. Janice says the last few scenes with Connie were legendary. Connie switching between Lee, Jada, and then nobody was amazing, and you did a great job.
Thank you so
So
much. I really appreciate it.
I'm
And
hoping for more Connie.
I can just say one more thing. I sometimes I comment in these interviews about some of the pretty harsh comments online. The last few weeks, I have received like the most love in my life from people being so complimentary, and it is like it's bringing tears to my eyes now. But I mean, it's just like the most meaningful thing. I mean, you don't do this for affirmation. I mean, a little bit, in the back of your mind, but when you get it and your work is validated, when you've wanted to do it your whole life and someone's like, you're doing a great job, it really means a lot. So I really appreciate it. And all criticism is valid, but this is not for me. It works just as well as I hate this and hate you. So just know that going forward.
Yes. So remember, if you tag an actor, folks, they will see it. So don't do that anymore. Okay? Don't do that
But
anymore.
I love you all so much, and thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you. So you've been validated by the audience. You validate us by being here. You make us seem far more important by showing up. So thank you for doing that. And thank you also for the flexibility. We all kind of needed that break last week to deal with the news and recover and react and remember. So thank you again for
And
being
I
flexible.
have a feeling we're going to see you next month.
I can't wait. It's gonna be
We're definitely going to see you next month.
okay. All right.
Everybody else saying thank you, you're awesome, all of that stuff.
you
Lots
so
of love
much.
and compliments from the chat. That's it. I'm going to click the off button. Thank you, Julie, for joining
Okay,
us.
thank
Thank
you.
you, all of us, everybody, for being here. We'll
Yeah,
catch you
thanks for
next
tuning in.
Sunday for another podcast. Okay, I just